Tell us when you first noticed there was a problem.
Um, I would say around 12 or so.
Okay.
Kind of starting to hit my teenage years.
Yeah.
I started having issues breathing out of the left side of my nose initially.
Uh-huh.
And as time went on, it kind of pretty much stopped being able to breathe out of the left or the right side. So
Okay. Was this at night or just all the time then? When you'd lay down?
it was like a daily occurrence. I ended up finding out that at night I could lay on a specific side,
Yeah.
and that would actually open up where I could breathe on both sides. But as I said, as it went on, then eventually it was closed off altogether. There was no breathing out of either side.
And you were living with your mother then, is that right?
Yes.
How did she react when you told her that I can't breathe out of my nose?
At first it was I guess any normal parent's reaction. You think it's like sinuses or any of that kind
Right.
of stuff, and eventually it just kind of got worse and worse. Later on down the road, we ended up actually consulting a doctor, and he pretty much told us that it was a sinus infection and gave me like a pretty much like over-the-counter spray
Mm-hmm.
and gave me some antibiotics and sent me on my way.
And obviously that didn't help.
Obviously that didn't help. So
So then at some point when your breathing just stopped through the nose, you went to a physician who suggested what? To fix this?
I pretty much lived with the not being able to breathe for quite a while, up until the point where my face actually started to swell, like on the
Mhm.
left side, because apparently the tumor on the inside had actually gotten big enough to where it was.
So your cheek was kind of poking out and puffing
It-
up, and
It kind of looked like I had gotten in a fight, like
Okay.
if I had gotten punched or something,
Yeah.
how it would kind of swell up.
how about your eye at that time? Was it also affected? Could you see out of it? Okay?
Yeah, I could. There wasn't anything wrong with my eye at that point.
So nothing pressing on the optic nerve. It was the pressure. But it was
Yeah,
okay.
it was all just in the sinus cavity. So.
Okay. Well, then what happened?
After this, I pretty much went to like a family doctor.
Okay. In Springdale.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he recommended that I get a CAT scan done, and he also referred me to a ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Okay. That sounds normal. And you went and had the CAT scan done, and then what happened?
Had the CAT scan done and went back to my ear, nose, and throat specialist at that point. And he was the one who initially told me that I had a tumor, and he pretty much
And you were
wanted
how
to let me
old?
know what was
16?
going
When
on.
that happened?
16.
And so he marched in, I guess, with the results, and I presume he sat down with you, kind of explained it in a kind way. Is that how would you describe how he explained it to you?
Abrasive would
Oh,
be
really?
the best way to describe it.
Hmm.
There was no hi, hello, how are you doing? It was a door
That's bad.
opens and hey, you have a tumor. Let's look at the X-rays.
What
So
did you think? I mean, here you are, 16 years old, your whole life spread in front of you, and you're hearing the word tumor. What went through your mind? Do you remember?
initial shock, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot. Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can really think. You just kind of sit.
How did your mother react to that?
To be honest, I really don't remember.
Yeah.
I was kind of off in my own little
Oh, yeah.
little world at that
In a
point.
moment of
so-
shock. So, a tumor's been diagnosed. Did he say it was cancerous?
It was not.
Okay. Well, that was some good news,
Yeah.
I guess. This tumor, did he have a name?
It was referred to as a juvenile nasal angiofibroma.
Okay. Well, armed with that information, then you did what?
I was referred to doctors in Little Rock
Mhm.
for the actual like removal of the tumor and whatnot.
Were you hopeful at that point?
Very. Because,
Think, well, they'll take this out, and it's not cancerous.
yeah, I'd obviously never been through anything like that before, so
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to expect. Went to Little Rock and had the first surgery done at 16. So
Okay. And when it was through, did they tell you it was successful, that they got everything?
yeah, everything was successful. They pretty much went in and took it out. It ended up being 3 pounds worth
3
of tumor
pounds?
that they took out.
In your cheek? In
Yeah,
your sinus? A
in the
3
sinus
pound?
cavity.
What size would that have been? Like a softball or baseball? Or softball?
About softball size.
My gosh. What, was your cheek really that extended at that time to show that much size?
Not really. They said that it was like a spider web, pretty
Okay.
much.
Okay.
That it had one mass in the middle, but
Yeah.
everything out actually just kind of spidered out.
Okay.
So
3 pounds.
3 pounds.
Okay, so then, I mean, so far, it sounds pretty normal. I mean, not normal, but as normal as you can be with discovering a tumor. Thankfully, it's not, it's benign. And then you have it removed. And what after that?
Pretty much, like you said, surgery was successful. Later on, I started having issues with my actual cheekbone because the first surgery consisted of them pretty much splitting everything back to my gums, and then they actually broke the cheekbone on 2 separate sides in order to get in and take everything out that they needed. Once
So-
they
So the incision, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the incision went from where? Your eye, probably your eyebrow? Or?
underneath my eyelid,
Okay.
and it pretty much cut down through my nose,
Uh-huh.
split my lip, and went into my gums to about here.
So they just kind of blade back that whole side to try to get every bit of this tumor they could get.
Some face-off stuff, pretty much, just peeled it back.
And then broke your cheekbone in 2 places in the process. And they put everything back together and stitched you back up. But then what?
About a year or 2 later, my cheekbone actually got infected and started to rot out pretty much. It was falling apart, like the plates and the screws and stuff that were used to connect it. It was actually just kind of deteriorating around that. So it actually fell down onto the inside of my nose after that point.
It just collapsed then.
Yeah, it just kind of fell apart.
And there was infection. This was infection that was causing this.
Yes.
Did they, I guess, apparently no one caught the infection early to deal with it.
Not
in the
early.
bone.
I guess staph infection, I guess, would be.
Oh. Well, that can be pretty ugly stuff. Staph infection can go through your whole body from that point. So I guess in that respect, you were kind of fortunate. But well, so then you went back, what, for more surgeries? Was that after this person?
More surgeries after. Pretty much, they had actually taken the cheekbone out at that point, and then they had to go back in and pretty much put something else back in. I mean, they had to replace what had come out.
Okay. What did they use? Plastic or?
Yeah, they used a prosthetic
Okay.
cheekbone. It was pretty much like a plastic cheekbone at that point.
Well, you'd think that would kind of solve it, wouldn't you? I mean,
You'd
build
think.
it back up underneath the skin.
You'd think.
But it didn't.
It didn't. My body actually rejected it again. So there again, more initial issues. It was just constant infection. So